Go ahead.
Everyone in this class has most likely heard of Nirvana and their hit song, Smells Like the Only Song You Know. Smells Like Teen Spirit. But you probably don't know much about Kurt Cobain, the lead singer. Today, my goal is to teach you about Kurt Cobain's childhood, his time in the band Nirvana, and his death. So, first off, where was Kurt Cobain born, and what was he like as a child? Kurt Cobain was born in Seattle, Washington, on February 20th, 1967, into a very generic, white, suburban family. From a young age, he showed a strong interest in art and music, as he would draw his favorite cartoon characters, such as Donald Duck, and he wrote his first song at just 2 years old. Although all of this tragically changed at 9 years old when his parents got a divorce. This caused him to become very distant and rebellious as a teenager. According to Bree Donovan of Rutgers University, Kurt Cobain was very quiet and shy in school and was bullied a lot. This was because he was very accepting of homosexual people, and he was against racism, which caused a lot of bullying. Especially for a white male in the 70s, that wasn't very common. He also, around this time, started to play the guitar, which he started playing around 12 years old whenever his uncle gave it to him. It was a right-handed guitar though, so he had to restring it to be left-handed. So he started playing in bands, especially with Chris Novoselic, was the bassist player that he was friends with at school. And he also teamed up with Chad Channing, which was the drummer, to form the band Nirvana. Nirvana would release their debut album, Bleach, in 1989 under the record label Sub Pop. It would have very grungy, heavy tones, which were very common in the Seattle, Washington area. This album wouldn't do very well as Nirvana. This album wouldn't do very well, and Nirvana would continue to play at small venues and bars. According to Paul Zeik, in an article, he states that Nirvana was pointed at the youth generation and would talk about the struggles felt by teenagers. Their music was meant to oppose conformity. 2 years later, Nirvana would release their second album, Nevermind, which would boost them to stardom. This album featured poppier choruses and lighter tones. During this time, Kurt would feel pressure from fame and become very depressed. According to Daniela Russo from Boston University, Kurt Cobain would begin to feel unhappy during performances and become depressed from the overwhelming fame. This depression, as well as Kurt's drug addiction, would soon drive him to suicide during Nirvana's tour for the final album, In Utero. Kurt Cobain's lifeless body was found in his home in Aberdeen, Washington in 1994 by an electrician going to check out the house. According to Sam Muirhead from Penn State, Kurt Cobain's body was found to have taken 3 to 4 times the lethal dose of heroin and before he had shot himself in the head with a shotgun. The police would instantly consider it a suicide as soon as they reached the scene, as there was a suicide note found in the room of Kurt Cobain's dead body. The case was never further investigated, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding Kurt Cobain's death, and a lot of people think that he was murdered instead of committing suicide. In summary, I've talked about Kurt Cobain's struggles during childhood, his fight with depression during his time in Nirvana, and the controversy surrounding his death. Kurt Cobain was able to save millions of lives through his art and music, but millions of supporting fans weren't enough to save him. Thank you.
Very good.